All right, welcome in for the Two Daves and a Mike spinoff Shelby Golden Lions podcast. I'm David Allen, DA, along with Jacari Shale, Juice in the house, both in the house tonight over at Lincolnton for the Western half of the state finals. Shelby at Lincolnton. This was a rematch from earlier in the season, Juice, in a 1-point game in overtime that Lincolnton snuck away with a victory. There was no sneaking tonight by the Lincoln Wolves. Shelby dominated from front to back, start to finish, up, down, sideways, and every which way. The defense was, Lincoln turned it over on downs like 6 times tonight, Juice.
Yup. Oh, amazing. Like this whole playoffs, Shelby's been dominating this whole playoffs, except last week against Eastern Randolph where they won by 2 points. But honestly, besides the halftime debacle with the roughing the passer, they was up 2 scores and on the way to trying to dominate them. But Shelby, great playoffs so far, and they got one more state championship next week against Kingston. Phenomenal game, especially on the defensive side. Didn't give up a single point. Try to contain the Lynch kid as much as possible, and it worked. They didn't give up a single point. And just proud of these guys and everything they've been through this season, especially dropping the first 2 games to Kings Mountain and Crest. A lot of people wrote this team off, and look where they're at now. Have an opportunity to go win another state championship next week.
Juice, the defense tonight was unbelievable. We talked about the defensive line last week in your absence because you weren't getting home till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we went ahead and did it without you last week. But, last week it was a tale of Noah and Tyson getting held on every play, and they weren't calling it. And we've already beat the ref situation into the ground, so we won't go into that again and rehash that. But tonight, again, the defensive line so dominant, pushing the pocket, keeping the Lynch kid in the pocket a lot of the night and running him up into the linebackers. And so when you look at the stats, the defensive stats, and first of all, shout out to Jim Sherman. Jim and Bob do the stats for Shelby. I texted him while I was walking the dog and just said, hey, man, you got any stats for our pod tonight? So here we go. Grady Nodine, 12 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack and a half. Landon Hollifield, 11 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack and a half. And Noah Gartner, 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a sack tonight. And again, Tyson might not have had the numbers tonight, but he was a defensive force tonight from his end position. And the DBs, for the most part, saved the drive at the end of the first half when they got it back with like a minute and a half after we kicked the field goal. And they completed a couple of balls deep down the field and got into scoring position and then didn't score. But outside of that drive, the DBs tonight pretty much had Lincolnton on lock. Total offense tonight for Lincolnton was 227. They had 136 of those on the ground. And Juice, first of all, Shelby wins, and I bury the lead every week. And it's a running theme at this point. 30-0, the Golden Lions win and advance to the state championship. We're excited about that. But going back to the fourth quarter, when I swear I'm not kidding when I say this, I tweeted about it. As the third quarter came to an end, and before the fourth quarter started, the PA announcer in Lincolnton, in the Lincolnton press box, announced for the fans as they were leaving to pick up their trash around them. And the entire fourth quarter was yet to play. Now, granted, Shelby was winning the game 30-0 at that point. They were going to win the game at that point, but I couldn't believe he said that. And then Lincolnton proceeded to run the football the entire fourth quarter. Juice, they didn't even try to come back and win the game.
Well, no point. They couldn't throw the ball the whole game. I don't think anything was going to change. But again, like speaking of the PA announcer, I remember the first time me and Brent was in the press box. But this game they had Brent and Jeff on the top of the roof. The PA announcer he was going crazy. He was yelling the whole time in there with me and Brent. It was hard for me and Brent to kind of hear each other, and that guy was funny. But I mean, I'm so proud of Shelby. I'm happy for Coach Wilbanks. He have an opportunity to go get a second championship next week. I mean, he worked so hard as a head coach. I love Wilbanks, him and Lori, and I'm so happy that he have an opportunity to go win next week. But again, 03. Oh,
It
that
would
is
be
right.
his,
He that is
it,
three. That is three. That's on
it
me.
would be his third if he won.
That's correct. That's correct. But again, you just talking about this defense, man. This front line before the game, Brent came to me. He's like, "Who you think the players of the game should be?" I mean, players to watch, and I said, I think this defensive line is to watch, or Noah Gardner, because they have to do a great job at containing the edge, doing a great job on the edge at containing it and keeping Lynch in the pocket, because he's most dangerous when he gets outside the pocket, because he can make plays with his legs, or in scramble drill situations, he can make plays with his receivers getting open on scramble drill. He just throw up a prayer or throw it to a quick completion out in the flats, and he got good enough playmakers on the perimeter to make something out of nothing and get a big game. So I props to the defensive line to keeping it, containing the edges and keeping him, again, what you said, going to him inside the linebackers. And you saw Landon and Nodine had a big game, and Julius Brooks. I mean, Julius Brooks had a big hit and then threw the flag, which is a conversation for a different day, which is ridiculous to me. But I know we love to give this credit to this offense, and defense doesn't really get a lot of love because they're not putting points on the board. But my goodness, that defense was amazing. And shout out to Coach Bark for that.
Yeah, I got a text late in the game from Coach Lance Ware, former head coach, and I mean he started us on this run with the move to the run and shoot, or the whatever we call it, the spread, the air raid, you call it whatever you want to. But he texted me late in the game to say, shout out to Coach Barkley for the defensive effort tonight. Because, I mean, offensively, you look back at the stats for the game that we lost 35-34. Excuse me, drinking that sun drop. Yeah. And I mean, we were much better offensively tonight, although it didn't really get that feeling. Tonight, 478 yards of total offense, 236 of those on the ground, 242 of those in the air. Jonas Woods tonight, Juice, 21 carries for 134 yards. If he gets 50 yards rushing in the state championship game, he will rush for 1,000 yards. And Jonas didn't start until Jalen Tate got hurt against Lincolnton.
The Lincolnton game, yeah.
And shout out to Jalen. He was dressed tonight. He was back. He actually got a carry. Unfortunately for him, he fumbled on the carry that he got. Yeah. I don't know that he's healthy enough to be back. I don't know that. But I was glad to see it. He's a senior, and he got a chance to play. But also, shout out tonight to Emmanuel Collins and Lorenzo Roseborough. Both of those guys were out with knee injuries. They came back and played tonight, a week after being hurt. Kind of reminded me of that Amon-Ra St. Brown game last night against my Cowboys. He looked like he was going to be out for 6 weeks with his ankle last week. And he lit the Cowboys up last night. Hey, Lorenzo and Manuel. Manuel was the leading receiver tonight, 4 receptions for 75 yards. Just a great night all around for the Shelby offense. And again, Land Farmer, we talked about him starting to run the ball. Hey, by the way, I saw Land's mom, and she stopped me and said, it's 230 pounds. So we've been giving him giving the stats out about his size. Katie, my daughter Katie, said, your friend Katie, she said, quit talking about how big he is. And I said, okay, I won't. So last week we didn't mention it. And the only reason I mentioned it tonight is because Land's mom told me that he's 230. Yeah. So, but for that 230 pounds, 15 carries for 73 yards tonight. He was 11 of 15 passing too, by the way, for that 242 yards. So 11 reception or 11 completions for 242. That's a pretty good average right there.
Yeah, you spoke about the offense and how their yards stacked up the first game compared to the second game. So much difference in that. The first game they had 171 rushing yards on 44 attempts as a team, and you said they had 236 tonight, and passing they had 210, and they had 242 tonight. Such a difference. And we was talking about Emmanuel Collins, and man had 70. What'd you say, 78, right, or 75?
75, yeah.
So, 75 in the first game. He had 4 catches for 37 yards. So you could tell these guys was really locked into the film room, see the mistakes they made the first time, and didn't allow that to happen today. But I mean, for Lamb Farmer, I know he was talking about his weight, about it, but this no one wants to tackle that. And you can see on the first drive when he uses his legs, he's you kind of know he's like a kind of a pocket passer a little bit. But I think since that Lincolnton game, the first time they played, he's been using his legs a lot more, and it's hard to get that guy on the ground. I mean, again, like I spoke on the first drive, and he kind of did the whole first drive himself. He had a big run to get him inside, like get him to the high red zone, and then using a short yardage situation with him. That's similar to the tush push. I mean, no one's bringing him down. And again, man, that kind of speaks on his versatility as a leader in year 4. Him being the all-time leading Cleveland County passer and Shelby High passer. And you said he got an opportunity to get 10,000 passing yards. I mean, it just speaks on his growth the whole year and him expanding his game, his versatility. And it's only going to help him even more if he decides to play on the next level. So, I mean, that's great for Shelby all around now. To be better and learn from their mistakes the first time, and you could tell they put the whooping on Lincolnton 30-0. So, good job by Shelby.
Land needs 79 yards to be specific next week to surpass 10,000 yards in his career. And that's just an incredible number. No question about that. That being said, Juice, 30-0, and the Golden Lions left points on the field because after T. Hollifield somehow or another just snatched a pitch kind of almost out of the air on the option play, Shelby, Jonas Woods had a big run down to about the 5, and he fumbled inside the 5-yard line, and that turned it over to Lincoln. So that was a point where we would have gone up 21-0 had we finished that drive off, and we didn't. And then we were first and goal. If I'm not mistaken, we were first and goal at the 4 right there before the end of the first half, and it was like we were trying to take time off the clock and wanted to score like right at the end of the half. And it's like, I don't know if we just got a little complacent there. I can't really say that. But we did run land, I think, 3 times in a row, and we ended up kicking the field goal to go up 17-0. And honestly, I thought it was going to be a momentum swing in favor of Lincolnton because, as I've already mentioned, they hit a couple of big pass plays in that last drive of theirs before the end of the first half. And, you know, they could have kicked a field goal. And I know you look back on it and you say, well, kicking a field goal wouldn't have done them any good. Well, it may not have. I don't know. It would have made it 17-3 at halftime.
And it would have finished with 3 at the end of the game instead of 0.
Well, that – but it also could have kick-started them on the second half because they did get the second half kickoff, but it didn't. So it doesn't matter. But like I said, we got a field goal when we probably should have had a touchdown since it was first and goal at the 4. And then we had that fumble inside the 5. So left some points out there. So that being said, the Golden Lions will play Kinston next week in the state championship. We have played Kinston once before in the state championship, and we were victorious big time. It was like I think that was the year Dalen Lee was quarterback, and we scored like, I don't know. I won't say – no, that's not right. I was thinking maybe we beat them.
I feel like that was like RJ and them or something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But while we do that, we'll talk about Kinston just a little bit. I posted something on Facebook tonight. I'll say that I shared something on Facebook tonight. Let me look at that real quick to tell you what it was, so I can tell you what the kid's name is. The kid's name is Tyreek Cooper. He is a wide receiver for Kinston. Juice, he has 2,005 receiving yards and 30 receiving touchdowns this season for Kinston. Now, depends on who you talk to. Kinston hadn't played a soul. They were in 14th seed in the East. So we're a 10 seed. We thought we were disrespected. Well, they're a 14 seed. Juice, they were 3-2 in their conference, tied with two other teams that were also 3-2. So they must have lost a coin flip or a draw or something. And that's maybe, I don't know. Their RPI wasn't as
2,000
good.
yard. Out
But
of 2,000 yards, that's
2,030
crazy.
touchdowns.
It's no matter who you playing, that's crazy. That is crazy. But I looked at Kingston. I saw North Carolina sports page post about it, and I saw that Kingston and Shelby High are top 2 in the state of North Carolina in passing yards. So it's gonna be an air raid show, probably long game, some incompletions, but that's insane. I saw the post you shared, but I didn't realize he played for Kingston. But my goodness, they got their hands full next week. And I hope it's because of the competition they play hasn't been good. But, like, again, like 2,000 yards is 2,000 yards. And I hope Shelby has a plan. You kind of know what they're going to do. Play someone over the top and always make him a focal point in everything they do. But that's insane. That's insane to me.
All right, we did not play Kinston in 21. So I'm going to go back and see who we beat in 19.
Was it Darquez? I feel like that was Darquez year we played Kingston.
It might have been.
At NC State, wasn't it?
19, I'll never forget that. I don't even know why I looked that one up. But that's the year we just absolutely waxed Salisbury, 34-0. My boy Nick Stites had a touchdown in that game. Dude, that was a massive beatdown.
Played the Atlanta Falcons linebacker and MLB first round pick that year.
Yeah, Honeycutt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be. I'm not doing as good a job of getting to it as I thought I would. Darquez was the perfect. He was the perfect year. He was the year we went 16-0. That's the year we played Rico Dowdle. Would that have been? Let's see. Michael graduated in 17, so
year?
that would have been 15-16 maybe. Let's go back and see 15-16. Yep, 15-16. That would have been right. Darquez and Jaden Borders and Antoine Wright and that crowd.
I was ball boy that year. I was ball boy that year.
57-21 was the final in that one.
No, so I was ball boy the year after. Yeah, that's what it was.
And we beat Lincolnton that year in the Western Finals, 37-21. So maybe that's a little good karma. We got Lincolnton in the Western Finals, and then we go on to Kinston in the championship. So,
do you know
all right. So here's
the location is.
We don't. So that's the other thing. So David Ray was giving me a hard time. He said, people are asking you, Dad, because you were the principal of Shelby High School and blah, blah, blah. I said, wait a minute now, buddy. Let me explain. It used to be that the High School Athletic Association put out who was playing where. And when I say who, I mean big 2A, little 2A, big 4A, little 4A, weeks in advance. So there was not this, we're playing on the Friday night in the Western Finals, and we don't know where we're playing next week. We don't know if we're going to Chapel Hill. We don't know if we're going to Durham County. We don't know if we're going to Lenoir-Rhyne. And the difference also is not only your travel plans, but what day of the week. The games that are going to be at Carolina's Kenan Stadium, Juice, are on Thursday and Friday. The games that are at Durham County and Lenoir-Rhyne are on Saturday. That, to me, makes a huge difference. If you're playing on a Thursday night, you don't have a full week of practice. You don't have a full week of practice. So if you're on Friday night, it's like a regular week. And if you're on Saturday, you get an extra day.
Yeah.
Don't know. Here's what I think is happening and why they haven't told everybody. I think what they're actually going to try to do is something they said they were going to do about 5 years ago that they never did, which is they're going to look at all the matchups and then they're going to pick the sites that best match up with the matchups. For example, Brevard and Reidsville are playing in the 4A state championship. I think that's a perfect game to be at Lenoir-Rhyne. That's a pretty good drive for Brevard and a pretty good drive for Reidsville, but it's not like one of them's going crazy amounts of space. Kinston and Shelby are probably, I hadn't looked it up, equidistant to Chapel Hill. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shelby and Kinston play either the Thursday night or the Friday night at Chapel Hill. I don't know that, but it wouldn't surprise me. I would not expect to see Shelby play Kinston at Lenoir-Rhyne. Maybe at Durham County Stadium, but definitely not at Lenoir-Rhyne. And to be clear about Durham County Stadium, that is not where Duke plays football. No, I mean, seriously.
I'll see a lot of people posting about at Duke, and I'm like, that's not Duke.
It's definitely not at Duke. It's Durham County Stadium. As a matter of fact, D-Ray and his buddy Will Bryant, two big Shelby High guys, did the CIAA championship game a couple of weekends ago. Johnson C. Smith and somebody from Virginia, I think, were in that game, and they were doing stats like for the CIAA. That's the stadium that Shaw University in Raleigh, believe it or not, plays their home football games in Durham County Stadium. So actually, Durham County Stadium is the home of Shaw University, definitely not the Duke Blue Devils. So anyway, all that being said,
HBCU knowledge, okay.
There you go. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know when they'll announce it. I don't know if they're going to announce it tomorrow or if they're going to announce it Monday at the press conference. So there is a press.
Shelby and Crest play at the same site for sure.
It would be great, but Wilson Hunt is who Crest plays. Wilson is right outside of Raleigh, maybe 45 minutes to an hour from Raleigh, east of Raleigh. So again, that's not far for them to go to Chapel Hill or to go to Durham. Crest, I mean, that's a 3-hour drive to go to Durham or to Chapel Hill. So maybe the Crest Wilson Hunt game would be at Lenoir-Rhyne, but I doubt it because that would then be only an hour for Crest and it would be more like a 2.5, 3-hour drive for Wilson. So anyway, I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to look at the mileage and try to figure it out and see who's, you got, first of all, you got Robbinsville and Murphy, two of the teams as far west as you can possibly go in the state of North Carolina in the state championship. So don't you know, both of them would love to play in Hickory at Lenoir-Rhyne.
Yeah. Why they change it? Why they not having it at NC State and Duke?
I don't know. It has long been at the 4 Big Four. It's been at Wake Forest, at Duke, at Carolina, at State. I don't know if there are renovations going on at any of those stadiums that are causing them to be out of the rotation. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the High School Athletic Association is trying to save money by going away from the ACC schools and going to to the county stadium in Durham, which would be, I'm sure, cheaper than going to Duke. And Lenoir-Rhyne is certainly going to be closer than going to Wake Forest, or cheaper than going to Wake Forest. But Juice, LR Stadium doesn't hold but 7,200 people. If Crest and Shelby both played there, they wouldn't be enough room. Because the people from Cleveland County, that's the one thing. Now, I complain about folks all the time. You need to come to the ball game. You need to come to the ball game. By God, Shelby makes the state championship. Everybody goes to the ball game. We draw well in the state championship. Always have. So if we're playing at if we play at Lenoir-Rhyne and Crest is playing at the same time or the same day, back to back, forget that. There's not enough seats in that stadium.
I know Lenoir-Rhyne just got like stadium renovations because I think it is like close to 10,000. I saw it was 8,200 people.
Okay, well maybe it's bigger. Maybe because of those renovations you're talking about.
But
yeah, well, we'll see.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I don't know when they're going to announce it. So, as much as inside information as I might have or might used to have or might have the ability to get, I don't know. I don't have it. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I feel inadequate because I don't have that inside track anymore.
And they need to have you at the pep rally this week just to go into the seniors and be like, can you beat them Shelby Lions?
Hey,
I'm not gonna say it. I can't.
hey, I can get them pumped up though. That's for sure. We got some. Listen, hey, my favorite Shelby High pep rally story. So, Juice, this is before your time, but Michael was a sophomore. Okay, so this would have been because Shelby won the 4 years he was in high school. Shelby won 4 state championships in football. But his sophomore year, he was in Miss Morgan, sorry. She used to be a Hull, now she's Morgan. Miss Morgan's AP psychology class. And I had gone to Rotary on Friday for lunch like I always do. And I came back, and as soon as I walked in my office, I went to the bathroom. I had 3 glasses of tea at Rotary for lunch, came in, had to go to the bathroom. I had barely gotten out of the bathroom and sat back down in my desk, and Dr. Prevost comes in with a drug test slip for me to go to the central office and get drug tested because I was, I had a bus license back in those days. I could drive a bus, and you randomly got selected for a drug test. So I go to the central office. I have just used the bathroom before I left, and I'm thinking, there's no way that I can do this drug test. So they give me the cup. I go in the bathroom. I come out, and there's like literally a pinky's amount of urine in the cup. And I hand it to the lady, and she says, that's not enough. And I said, well, it's got to be enough. I said, because I got to go. It is state championship pep rally today. We're playing in the state championship tomorrow, and I got a pep rally at 2:00. I have got to be back at the school. And that lady goes, if you leave, it'll be considered a failed test, and you'll lose your license. Juice, I went to the drink machine and got me a Sun Drop, a 20 ounce. I killed it. I went and filled it up with water. I killed it. I drank another cup of water, another bottle of water. At this point, I'm looking at my watch, and there's no way I'm making it back for the pep rally. So I call the school, and I say, give me Miss Morgan's room. I got to talk to Michael. So they send the phone call into Miss Morgan's room. Michael gets on the phone. He's like, what's I said, dude, you got to do the pep rally. And he's like, what do you mean I got to do the pep rally? I said, I don't have time to explain it. I said, but you have to run the pep rally. I said, Michael, listen to me. Here's all you need to do. You need to go in there. You need to introduce the team. You need to get them fired up. And I said, do the class cheers. I said, boom, chicka, boom. Go, Shelby, go, Shelby, go. Pump it up. And can you beat those Shelby lines? And I said, I don't care if it's 2:45. If you're done with the can you beat those Shelby lines and it's 2:45, say, see y'all tomorrow and let them go home. That's exactly what my boy did. He ran the pep rally for the state championship because his daddy was sitting up there at the central office trying to pee in a cup.
So what time did you get back to the school?
Like right as the school was, as they were going to the bus, like at 2:55 or whatever. It was crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, Michael said he didn't know what to do. He said, I just did what you do, Dad. I said, you're the man. So we got to love it. Hey, we've been on here. We almost did 30 minutes tonight because I'm reminiscing, telling about old stories. But big win for the Golden Lions tonight.
Huge.
There was no referee bad call going to stop them tonight. And they took care of business. So next week against Kinston, tune in to Two Daves and a Mic on Tuesday night, because if you don't know who Shelby's playing and where they're playing by Tuesday night, check us out on the pod. Also, you can check out Armchair Quarterback on c19.com.org.tv. c19.tv is what I think it is. For Armchair Quarterback on Monday, we will maybe have the answer for Armchair Quarterback Monday afternoon. So that's another source. And then, of course, you check the Shelby High School website and all that kind of good stuff as well. So,
all right.
Good one, Juice. So for Juice, I'm DA.